All right.
Bumble clap.
Okay. What up, y'all? Welcome into another episode of Rabbit Hole Sessions. We're happy to have you. Thanks for joining. I'm TOD, Tyler on Demand. Tyler, what's going on with the people? I'm feeling good. Emilio, to my left. Young Gweeds, how are you, sir?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm doing well.
Feeling
A
good?
big smile over
Yeah,
here.
I know. I think he's happy for this
Jesus.
episode.
Good.
I guess we'll find out. Jimmy Jams, what's up, homie?
I'm also
Sitting
feeling
across
pretty
from me.
good. Yeah, I've been on a positive wave this past week. I don't
Look
know
at
what
that.
It is, yeah.
So has Corona. So let's...
Well, goddamn.
He puts his mask
Yeah.
on.
Oh, God. Hey, we have a special guest joining us today. Special guest. Jakob Martinez Cooper is here to my right. Hey.
Hello.
What's up, brother? How are
What's
you?
up, man? I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
So we know Jakob pretty closely now at this point because, as we'll also get into, Emilio's film, Max Met Loralie, which you've definitely heard about before, has actually finished production. So, yay, another round of
Yeah.
applause. We made it.
Somehow.
Congratulations.
Jacob's
Yeah.
playing the main character, Max. He had a big role, very involved in this. And along with that and, like, getting his insights on that, we wanted to have him on to talk about a lot of stuff because he's a pretty creatively diverse guy, we've come to find out. And won't stop talking. Let all the pod gems off.
We couldn't even
off
start the
mic.
podcast.
Yeah, exactly. But we're happy to have you here, man. How are you today?
I'm good, man. This is cool. Yeah, dude, I haven't done a podcast in forever. This is a lot of fun.
Oh, but you have done one before.
Yeah, I used to have a podcast way back. Yeah.
What happened to it?
Just kind of dude. It was a sports like comedic podcast.
Right.
Oh,
My
we went
friend
over
and
this.
I-
We
yeah.
went over this. Let's not
Usual.
go too deep
Wait,
into
what?
this. Remember?
A sports
yeah, but
comedic
on air.
podcast though. It's a sports
Remember
comedic
that.
podcast.
No.
Long story short, but
Remember?
we stopped after like 13 episodes, bro. I just
13
didn't want to
ain't bad.
edit it.
That's not
13.
bad.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was 13.
We've been there, not wanting to edit, but we're powering through for the people. We're here. But it's funny because a lot of guests we have, that is their first podcast. People that a lot of times that we have on this show. And I guess it's because we were new to podcasting and most of our peers and people that we like, that we wanted to have on, never did it before. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I feel
saying?
like it's not like a popular thing for college kids to do.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
I
it's-
don't know. Like, I just don't know that many kids who podcast. Like, I feel like
I
every
actually-
college,
Surprised.
every college, you know a
I
kid,
hear a
you know a
lot.
kid who like makes music, or every kid, you know, like, I don't know, podcasting's different.
Where have you seen
I see people talking about it in like my group chats.
that they've
And
got
in
on?
group chat. No, that they at least know somebody that has a podcast.
That has one.
and it's always like
It's
an
that
air of
thing
like,
now.
oh, this guy's got a podcast.
Dude, it's kind of
It's a little
become
negative.
the new check my SoundCloud or like
Yeah.
I'm dropping a mixtape on SoundCloud, which is rough because now I got to battle both battles with podcasting and music.
So like podcast battles.
No, it's just it's what James said. It's like now if you say you have a podcast, it's like you kind of get the
Oh, actually,
the
it was
initial feeling.
yeah.
it was
Okay.
usually in the context of like someone was on a date with someone and then that person brought up their podcast.
Oh man.
It's a
So-
weird thing to bring up on a date. It's a
Yeah,
flex.
exactly.
Like, by the way,
Is it?
I got
Is
a
it, Tyler?
podcast. Like,
I don't know. I don't think it's that crazy.
Yeah. At some point, I think it'd be okay.
It
It's
comes up
something.
sometimes.
Yeah, it's something you do.
If you're passionate
Yeah.
about it, speak
Yeah.
up.
That's what I'm
So why
saying.
not?
I'm like
Yeah.
I've said it before.
Not
We've
unless
definitely
you
talked
feel
about
bad
it.
about it. I
Yeah,
guess.
but I usually tell them to then not listen though, because like I might talk about them. Well, I don't tell them that I might talk about them, but I just be like,
Red
just chill,
flags.
just chill. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I have trouble introducing this sometimes because it's like I want people to know me a little more before they hear this, but at the same time, fuck it. That's what we have this for, to let yourself out there. You know what I'm saying? But let's dive right in on the film. You guys want to start there?
Oh,
Does that sound
shit,
like a good
okay.
spot to start?
What
'Cause I
film?
feel like we could
Yeah.
touch all these
Seriously,
bases.
dude.
But yeah, so as we just said, director Guido over here has been working on Max and Loralie. We've all been involved in that process. You guys have heard that along the lines if you've heard these past episodes. But what are some of the initial takeaways? How have you been feeling since? How long has it been now? 2 weeks? 3 weeks since we wrapped?
No,
One?
more
and
than
a half?
that.
3, bro. It's been-
3?
I think so. I, think
I
it's
honestly
just been
don't
3.
know. I
Me
just know
neither.
we wrapped.
Time's a blur.
I don't even know what date. I was gonna try to say a day. We
Nah, I think
wrapped,
it's been
and then
3.
now
It ended sometime, and now here we are.
there was a mourning period, and then now moving on.
Yeah. But how have the reflections been?
Good. I feel I was telling Jacob earlier. Today's a good day for editing. So today I feel positive about it. Seeing the light at the end of the tunnel for something I'm working on as far as editing. But I'm more curious to hear what you have to say about the process.
Especially because now he has to wait for you to finish the editing.
Yeah.
Before he can
Yeah,
actually see
right.
the
Like
final
I
Yeah.
can't do anything for them at this point. Like I'm
Yeah.
done, which is super
Yeah.
weird because like there's like, I feel like that's so weird. The one thing weird about acting because I feel like I really get into this character right, and like you devote so much time to it, and then a third of the way through the process, they're like, "All right, see you later." Like that's all we need you for, and there's like so much more after
Your
that you
full
just don't get to
film
be a part
part
of.
is your editing is the pre-production where you're coming up with all those things, like you were talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
That's
fair. So
That's your
I'm part of
editing.
pre-production
Oh.
instead of post, but it's just so
Yeah.
interesting.
Editing
But it's
before
been-
you even shoot.
Yeah,
That's
but for
interesting.
him,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's different.
Yeah,
I mean, like I
exactly.
feel like I'm different too because you're looking at the footage like every day. Like I haven't I barely thought about the film. I have like
Yeah.
school, like I have other
Good.
shit to do, right? So like because I'm not seeing it every day, like I feel pretty good about it though.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I feel like most projects everyone walks away from knowing like they could have done stuff better, or like having regrets, like, oh, I wish I didn't. But like, I felt pretty good about this one. Like I'm sure there's definitely spots where if I look back, I'd be like, oh, I could do that better, differently. But like just from what I can remember.
And that's just growth. When you learn it, when you see it, you learn the things
I
that
mean,
you
like
could've done
that's where it
better,
comes
so.
from, because then you know next time to do it better, and next time you don't make that mistake or whatever. So.
Was this character of Max anything that you've stepped into before? Is this a role that you've ever tried?
No, actually, that's actually something Emilio, you and I talked about when we first started talking. Part of the reason I even applied and I was looking for other stuff to do is because up until now, like I've been very typecasted, and because like I usually get casted in like, you know, like the dick like jock who's gonna bully the student. Like I do because like. Yeah, I just like I don't know, like the past like 3 roles I've done for like theater or for film has been like, hey,
Got a
what's
douche
up?
look about
Yeah,
you.
I'm a douche. I'm like the high school bully. Like that's what I played.
Were you casted by people that you knew already?
Yeah,
Hilarious.
The reason they cast me as that though also is because like where I go to school, it's a lot of like theater kids and stuff, and I'm just like kind of more athletically built than other people, so they just like they don't have that many
When
like,
they have
athletic
those
people.
characters in all
right.
of their films.
When I fit like the body type for it, then it's like
Aiden
oh,
would
and
have been
he's-
that
yeah.
character, but I don't think he turned out that
Well,
way. Like
this
Aiden
is
was
why
that
like
build.
yeah, and I mean like that's why I've never done anything like Max before. I've never played like someone who's like so timid and afraid and a follower like that.
Really complex. Like he's not. I don't know these other roles, but a jock seems pretty straightforward. You know, like in terms of their character.
I mean,
arc.
like, yeah, and I mean, you can always make a character as complex or simple as you want it. But I mean, like for Max, I don't think there was even a choice to make Max simple because he really wasn't. Like, I feel like when you wrote Max, it was like initially you're just like, oh, this kid's kind of like down in the dumps and he's kind of just like a loner and doesn't really do a whole lot. But then there's like so much more there, and then I just choose to go even deeper with it. But like what Emilio wrote, like there's just so much there for growth that yeah, Max was never gonna be simple.
Do you think Max turned out on screen how you were picturing it while you were writing? Mid sip. Yeah.
I think better. I don't think, and I think I've said this to you before, where I don't think.
Huge
Yeah.
compliment.
Oh,
Wow, I'm blushing over here, guys.
because I can't picture what they look like. I don't know what the characters look like. And this was especially important when I was working with Rita in the costume and makeup department, trying to figure out like what these characters look like, because I knew what they looked like on the inside, and that's all I spent so much time thinking about that and like who they were rather than what their skin was, and I think because it's interesting because I told you this was a recast position, and I was. Because I hadn't thought about telling you that, like, before getting on the phone, because it just didn't cross my mind. There was no, like, need to withhold information, but, because it, like, to me, like, the train's rolling, like, I have to find, you know, somebody else, and the one thing I don't like is the, how the process happened. Like, it felt like like I'd be grabbing at anything, and what I'm glad is that it wasn't like that. Like, the product we achieved wasn't, like, oh, like, I just grabbed the first person, you know, who said yes, and, but like you weren't the only person, but which is good. I think, because
Yeah.
you
Means you
rose.
beat them
yeah.
Were you desperate, Emilio?
At the time, kind of, yeah. But
Look, that's a testament. Sometimes when you're desperate, you can
Yeah.
find what you need.
well, I think it worked out really well
He's
because
like, well, not quite.
how it was working out originally, with the character or the actor who was in it originally, you could have looked at Max and said, like, immediately been like, oh, I know him, which in a way is a good thing, but it's an easy thing. And that reminds me of like classic cinema of like the 40s, where you just see, like, you look up, you see the white guy on the screen, and like he's supposed to, you know, pull us all in. He represents all of us, doesn't matter what our color is. And naturally what happened was the universe chose that this was not the way of the film, and so Max looks like somebody you know, but a little bit more complex, you know, like you can look at him a little bit longer instead of looking at him and immediately recognizing, you know, you can look at him and think, what else, you know, ask what else.
Right. It makes him a puzzle.
Yeah.
Among the world
Yeah.
he's already trying to figure
Yeah.
out. It adds layers to it. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. I think it's great that the glasses are huge. The fact that you wear glasses.
Oh yeah,
It's night and day.
It's
It is
huge.
night and day.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a totally different person sitting here
Yeah.
right now.
Did you
right.
picture that originally, or is that just something that just kind of happened?
No, because you don't wear glasses in any of the like pictures you have.
No, because I wear contacts, so I don't. Glasses is like
Yeah,
at night
and
I'll
I
throw
feel
them
like you
on.
try to avoid wearing.
Yeah, I mean sometimes I'll wear them
glasses.
here and there, but I mean
Yeah.
I don't wear them to the gym, and then usually like
Yeah.
that's my start my day, and then I go. So I'm like I'm not gonna wear glasses halfway through the day.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, but I think that was just a.
yeah,
I think it was just a
requested
choice
yeah.
you made.
Yeah,
Or you asked
that's,
for it and
that's
we
the way
tried
it was
it.
definitely
Or we
gonna
wanted
be.
to try it, and once we tried it, we realized it
Yeah.
worked. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But I was gonna ask, so because this is such a new character, and you were telling us some of your ways you got into it and your method acting off mic, but what did you do that was new for this character that you hadn't done for others before, and trying to get into it? And how early did that start? Was it right from when he told you the role? Was it there was some lead up? What happened with that?
Well, in terms of like how I got into this character any differently, I'd say there was just more prep time more than anything, because I feel like when Emilio and I talked, and we kind of eventually decided to make Max like more like deeper and have more to him, have more depth to him. It was like, okay, so now instead of prepping for like a couple days, just like, oh, kind of get into like a sad mood, a blue mood, like kind of just be kind of lonely, like don't talk to people. So then when I get on set, I'm kind of in that mindset. Instead of doing that, it was like, because that's not all he is, then it's planning in advance. Like, you know, you start to plan like, how did Max grow up? What was his, like, what kind of school did he go to? What kind of friends did he have in elementary school? What were like, what kind of phases did he go through like as a kid? You know what I mean? Like who his parents are, how was he raised, stuff like that. So there's definitely just like more like preset work. In
Like
that
you create
sense.
the context.
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
character.
yeah. You like because you create the character, because like Max wasn't born the day the camera started, right? Like Max is supposed to be a
wow.
22-year-old kid, so Max has had 22 years of life, and you can't just walk on set as another person and not at least try to experience that. I feel like, right?
Sheesh.
So then it's like, how do you make 22 years of life in X amount of time, a week, a month, whatever? Like you don't have to, but you go through the highlights.
Okay, so
And
now
that
that
helps.
that filming is over,
Interesting.
do those thoughts that were Max's still stick with you every now and then? Like,
Whoa.
Ooh, interesting.
Has that
No, they
affected your
definitely do.
psyche?
They definitely do. I mean, I feel
Whoa.
like.
And he wasn't involved in the project as long as it was around. Because it's funny. One thing,
No,
just a side
yeah.
note, you mentioned how much prep time you did have. I was worried because I didn't think we had enough prep time. Because the way it originally started was like months.
Well, and that's what did I have, like 2 weeks, I think, and we met once before the first day of shooting
Yeah.
or something. Well, it was lucky. I was lucky because it was
We
during
barbecued.
quarantine.
I hosted a barbecue.
Oh, that's right, at Burgers. No, it was quarantine, so I had a lot of time, right? So like, even though I only had a week, I had like 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, if that's what I wanted to do. Like I did. It wasn't like I only could take time to work on this like at night after I finished work or school or whatever. Like I had literally nothing to do all day, so that helped.
So when you say work on this, you mean like literally sitting at your desk writing, "This is Max's life," like on
No,
paper? or
not
what?
necessarily. I mean, like it's different every day. You kind of like it's not so much I don't feel like it's the same every time, right? So like maybe for Max, I sat there and wrote a journal, but for another character, I would listen to music and just like think in my head and kind of get in the space. For another character, I would, you know, like maybe like have fake conversations with like another person that like if I was that character. Like with Max, it just so happened to be kind of writing stuff down, and I think that's because Max doesn't really talk to other people. So I feel like Max would journal. I feel like Max has journals. So I started like just like writing about like. Yeah, I started like doing like just like a quick paragraph on like how my day was today as Max, and then I also like every day or every couple of days would work on like, okay, what did Max do when he was in like 5th grade?
that's an
Like,
incredible
you know what I mean?
commitment to the film.
Yeah, man.
That's
what it's supposed to be.
incredible.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
That's
what makes it
the
great.
thing also, like that's the art form of acting, right? Like
Right.
that's what makes it so beautiful.
Well,
is-
it's people. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you don't make a character like at the end of the day also like, yeah, it's Max, but it's more like to me, like as much as I call myself like Max on set, like you know, or whatever, and I'm Max on set, like Max isn't real. What's real is Jacob, and what's real is me. So like, how do I like? Okay, Max is feeling this, so what would like? How am I gonna portray it? And like, it's just like, how does Jacob get sad first, or how does Jacob become like antisocial, and then how do I just tweak that a little bit? But it's not fully Max. Like there's a lot of me in there.
Exactly.
You know what I
That's
mean?
exactly how you
There
make
has
it
to be.
yourself.
There has to be. How do I know what Max feels like to be anxious if I've claimed I've never felt anxious before, right? Like it's like for anything. Like for example, if like you had written in the film that, you know, Max experienced like his mom dying or something, right? Like if that was in the film, my mom's still alive, so I haven't experienced that pain. But then, like, how does Jacob draw to something like, oh, maybe I've had like a pet that's died or like something, and then you kind of just tweak that and kind of do it that way.
Wow. So you're kind of like you're a vessel or a conduit for this energy, if you would, that is the character. It's not the character is not the physical form.
No, you don't take form of Max. Max just kind of becomes a little bit of you.
Oh, Max is water, and you're the vase. Like water takes shape of whatever goes
nice.
into it. Oh shit! And then the whole is the combination of both, and that's what becomes on screen. Is that like?
Yeah, I mean,
wow, dude.
yeah, it's
wow.
a pretty good metaphor.
Wow.
I had to think about it, but yeah.
Wow.
Good.
It's always, not always, but it is interesting to hear about, the different creative processes from things I'm not too familiar with. Like just learning from James even about acting, like in the however many 2 years, 3 years, I don't know how long.
Do you have
it's
like
been.
a creative process that you go to? Like, do you have something?
It's not as in
consistent?
depth as that. No, because I definitely think about the characters. When I've worked with Emilio, I was thinking the same. But for me, I feel like I've switched into the roles pretty easily. I think it never required me thinking more onto it, but maybe that's just because I related to the characters already.
I feel like that's
Well, what are the
thing.
roles? What kind of the roles?
Echoes.
Yeah. Well, that's not the role, but
Well, the main
His name's
character,
Echo,
yeah.
the main
Come on.
character of Echoes.
I know who it is. But
Yeah,
I'm
boy.
telling you the type of person.
That
Trying
was
to
like
set
an
'em up.
introspective person writing about their feelings. I've done that before. the only
Echoes is
one.
nothing new.
And then the other one,
The other one.
catch your breath.
Mm-hmm.
I was just a dude.
Just killing me.
I was just a dude getting stabbed. That one was like.
And he's done that before.
That one was the only one where I had to kind of be
I
something.
told
that
you
wasn't,
your death was important. I feel like that was the most important thing, like piece of advice or like
Your death
I
is
feel like that was the
important.
most important direction in the whole film. And like I think that I didn't say anything like that to you, but I think it was important.
Yeah.
Because he was going, dude, you were going all out from like his death, because he was dying. He was dropping on his knees on
Yeah.
that concrete.
Yeah, I
and
got
he
shot.
was doing it without like knee pads or anything. And then eventually I got him knee pads because I didn't even think of it.
Godsend. Oh.
Yeah, thank
Oh,
God.
God,
yeah.
I was
After
happy.
his knees were broken.
Yeah,
he
let me
ripped
see.
out his
Yeah,
knees.
right.
because
Still
he
got all
was-
the
he
scarring
was-
on him.
These
he
these are
did.
darkened forever because it was
Oh,
just
man.
scraped up. Yeah, no.
Somebody ripped through their boot. Cole ripped through his boot when doing
because
the
he slid
scene.
or something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then he broke his phone doing the scene too.
Oh man, I don't remember.
Yeah,
that.
so like a lot of shit. And we changed over the
Damn, bro,
cast
did you
and
buy him a
crew
new
so many
phone?
times. No. It was he said it was his fault, which it was.
Yes,
it
yes,
was
perfect,
I mean,
perfect.
he probably shouldn't have had it in his pocket
Yeah, I don't
while
know
he
who's
was
acting with the phone in
filming.
their pocket.
But yeah.
Yeah, that is a little strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
shout
acting
out to
choice.
Cole, though.
Shout out to Cole. However
Yeah.
he's doing, I don't know
Yeah.
where he's at.
He's in
but-
Texas, Dallas.
Oh
Yeah.
shit! Shout out to Dallas. That's your hometown.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Sorry, I just got mixed up in my head. You said you were asking him questions off mic that you wanted to bring on. Do you remember any of them?
It was mostly about your method acting because I find that super interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel like I started that a little bit out of fear of getting like typecasted forever. Not that I'm like even close to like starting my professional career because I'm still in school, but like, I guess I look at actors and I look at someone like Aaron Paul, right? Aaron Paul, who plays Jesse in Breaking Bad. If you guys seen Breaking Bad, so he plays that character like perfectly. And after that show, everyone was like, he's gonna be this big star, like he's gonna do all this shit. And he like didn't do any movies. Like he did some, but like he pretty much plays the same character. And like he's a great actor, but he's a great actor like in this confine of himself. So I feel like for me, like I want to take roles that I feel like are out of my typecast and like really work hard on them so I can eventually like get good at them because. Like maybe I'll get lucky and land something that like really fits to who I am, but like I would want to be able to then go do a ton of other stuff. Like you look at someone like De Niro, he can play like a whole like range of people. Right. So like the range. Like I feel like anybody can be good at one thing at acting, and like you can get a role from it or you can have a career from it. But like if you want to like really be something special, I feel like, or really be like a good actor that can play a ton of roles, you have to have that.
Are those your favorite actors? The ones that do a diverse role?
I just feel like actors who I can see play like serious, comedic. They can play sad. They can play upbeat. They can play like from different, like regions of the U.S. or the world. Like
Adam Sandler.
yeah,
He said, yeah.
yeah.
Do you have any
you seen
favorites?
Click though? Like
Dude,
Oh, boy.
Click.
Click's a great
yeah.
one.
Punch
But
Drunk
yeah,
Love.
yeah.
What about someone like Denzel Washington or Samuel L. Jackson, who they do play different roles, but it's like you see that character and it's like, oh, that's them. Like that's Denzel.
Yeah,
in
you know what
that
I think
role.
that is too though. Like that's just like legend status at that
Oh,
point.
so
right?
that's like-
Because that's their personal
That's like
charisma.
LeBron James status. That's like they're like the GOATs, right? Like they're at that point. you're hiring Denzel
Yeah,
because
living legends,
Denzel
like,
is gonna
still
put
working.
like you're hiring Denzel because you wrote that part with like him in mind. At that point, it's like no one can. Yeah, it's like what Denzel does best is like what people want, so they would write characters around that or stuff like that.
I wonder if that sucks for the actor in a way.
Oh, I don't think so. Well, I don't think so because he can choose what he wants or what he doesn't want. Like, let's be honest, if Denzel really wants to do something, like, someone's going to let him do it. Like, someone's going to pay him to do it.
Right.
Like, so
someone will write that script for
yeah,
him.
or someone will just let him be in whatever. Like, if he really wanted to do cheesy romantic comedies, like, Hallmark would swoop
you
him up, no
imagine?
problem. You know what I mean,
Yeah,
though? Like,
very true. And like, does Morgan Freeman get mad about playing God? Probably
no,
not.
probably not. Does Morgan Freeman get mad at a paycheck? No,
That's
does
a good
anyone?
role.
No,
That's a
like,
good
let's
role.
be
Playing
honest.
God
like,
is a good role. Actually, in history, it hasn't been.
I'm laid back, I'm focused. Since way back, my low keys. Internal, my soul to keep. I struggle for peace. Yeah. I struggle for peace, I struggle for change. My head down, my money correct. I'm pushing so damn hard, snap the chain on my bike. Yeah. Uphill both ways just to get up inside of you.
Ballin', I'm calling you out. All of them falling, appalling about. Tell you the words coming out of my mouth. Came to me soon as I'm hearing the sound. Said, baby, with me, get down on it. Drop it on me, some pounds on it. Sure enough, I found something. Deep dive and I drown under. Got your town torn up asunder. My battleground gon' breed your blunder. Tender hearts gon' bleed the most. Stand hearts of gold, still need a host. Got my soul out on the line. But my goal is the lowest fine. Fine dimes look mighty fine right down the line when I'm with mine.
I'm laid back, I'm focused. Since way back, my low keys. Internal, my soul to keep. I struggle for peace.
Dude, Lil Baby tweeted some boss shit when he I think it was just
cool,
like, huh?
I like him.
He's cool. He's like, when she fly to you on her own private jet. I was like, oh, that's hard. That's so hard. Okay, Emilio, you said you had Jesus. You said
get
you
ready.
You said okay, and jump
why are you
cut.
like this, man?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going.
Because I'm like this, Max and Loralie came. What are you talking about?
Oh, let's go. That's how you got your first look. You go look back at this as the reason
Dude, there's
you
so
blew
much
up.
stuff. There's such a dynamic range, and we've spoken about that, like that character. And I think one of the things that, to go back, this is really jumping right into the
That's
rabbit
cool. No,
hole.
do it.
But to go back to one of the things we were talking about earlier about what I think about the character now that it's like over and done with, and if it was better. And I think yes, because like we just said, there's so dynamic, so much range within the character of like being sad boy, and then also being like angry, beating
Violent.
the shit out of literally violent,
Yeah.
violent. And pick that up. Somebody pick that up. Come on now.
Don't litter, bro.
Yeah.
Come on, respect.
What's going on?
Ah, shit, god
Dude.
damn it. I'm
Yeah,
doing my
what's
best.
going on here?
Do you see how long my arms are?
He's devolving. He's going back to apes.
Do you see
using
how
his feet.
far my fucking legs are? It's called, I'm not you, Tyler. I'm not 7 feet tall.
And I am the one that picks things up with my toes too. So I'm the one that's
Ew.
like, nah, bro. I got some nice,
bragging
not
about that?
claws, but like
That's disgusting.
hands.
Don't call
I wish
your
you didn't
feet
say
claws.
that.
I said they're not
I
claws.
wish you
Hands,
didn't
you
say
calling your
that.
feet hands?
Yeah, that's better. That's closer.
Yeah, fist for feet, boy.
Oh man.
Yikes.
Anyways,
My kicks are deadly.
so no, just being able to play the character on both sides of the extreme. One of the things I was interested. One of the things I was interested. Yeah, hold on. One of the things I was interested in talking to you about is kind of like the in between take stuff. Like, so when you're in character, and we've had this conversation, there's a few things I want to like learn more about, and part of that is just like where you are in between takes, like where you go in between takes, what you're thinking of between takes, and then kind of we'll go further. But
I mean, like, I think it kind of depends, because I don't really like, I mean, like, I don't know if I'm just not at that level yet, or if I even want to be at that level, but that whole, like Daniel Day-Lewis stays in character the whole time, right? Like, I don't really, like, I don't know, I think that's a little extreme, and I don't think that's really necessary. So, honestly, like, in between takes, like, if it's one of those, like, cut, okay, let's run it again, like, I'm just kind of staying in it. And if it's something like a really intense scene, like that one scene where we filmed at night for Max and Loralie, like, that one I was staying in it, because it's hard to get to that place.
Yeah.
But if it's just like a kind of a more casual mindset that I'm in, just like kind of a like pretty normal one, then I don't necessarily like have to stay in it. The other thing is also, like, sometimes in between take, Gio come up to me and be like, what do you think of that? What do you think? And then I'm thinking, like, okay, how do I improve that? And I'm not so much thinking like, oh, still stay in it. It's just like, okay, look away for it for a second and I'll come back at it.
I'm interested in that too, like how your dynamic evolved between director and actor, and if like specifically what things did Emilio do to make you feel more comfortable on set or feel more in character?
Yeah.
And how can we bring it to the pod so it makes me feel more comfortable when I'm here?
I don't know, man. I think just hanging out with him. Because the other thing is also, like, Emilio is, oh, this is going to sound so cheesy. Emilio is not only my director, but my friend. No, but it's because, like, I mean, every time we would meet up to rehearse, like, lines or talk about stuff, like, we'd probably talk about it for, like, 30 minutes, but, like, we'd be there together for like 2 hours. And the other hour and a half was just, like, actually talking about just, like, other stuff. So then by the time we got on set, and especially after, like, the first day, after we got, like, the first day of set kind of out of the way, I feel like it was pretty comfortable. And it wasn't so much like, oh, maybe like me being afraid to kind of voice my, it was like he was my director, but like also I felt like a level of comfort that I could like just kind of work off of. And because at the end of the day, even though Emilio wrote it, like he allowed me to play Max, so like Max is mine just as much as it is his, so we have equal say in that. And like he's the director, so he gets final say, but I think we did a good job. I feel like we did a good job of being pretty equal on that.
So it was setting that foundation early, like that made you feel comfortable to make the character.
I mean,
your own.
that's just, I think comfort levels like with
I think
anything.
the barbecue was pivotal.
The barbecue.
It was. I really think so, because it wasn't
was.
for us to talk
We
about
didn't even talk
anything.
about the film on that.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
That's what it
we
wasn't
barely
for
did.
that. Yeah.
No, I think it is. I mean,
There was something there, I think, chemistry-wise, like from the moment we were hanging out down there with,
Yeah.
like when you and Tanya met for the first time,
yeah.
and Rita and everything, and we tested makeup and stuff like that. I think there was just like chemistry there already.
I mean, that obviously always helps. I think it just makes the whole experience easier. It's totally doable to still have like a good film without that chemistry, but with it, it just is so much more natural and effortless, and you can focus on like other stuff,
Yeah.
Was that
We
something
also-
you focused on from
What,
your side,
chemistry?
like laying that foundation?
Yeah, because like a huge part of like directing is like establishing the playground and establishing like an environment and comfortability, and like that's almost like because
I mean, you're running the team, so you
Yeah.
got to make sure the team
Yeah.
is willing to work together.
is in the
and
right mind
comfortable.
state that you need them to be in.
It's acting, right? Like it's supposed to be fun, and it is supposed to be like it's art, so it's supposed to be like fluid and freeing and fun. It's not an office job, so you have to make sure the environment is still fun for everyone. Because if I'm not having fun on set, like it's gonna show on camera.
That's
you know,
why
like
I
if I don't
say,
feel like if I don't want to be there, it's gonna show.
Yeah.
Like, let's make dreams come true. Let's like, like, why are we here? To make movies. Why? Because we love making movies,
Like I want to
it's
be
that.
excited to show up. Like if I just showed up every day and was like, fuck it, like
Here we
I
go
gotta-
again.
Here we go again. Like gotta
Run
be-
it again,
Yeah,
run it again.
but like I'm excited. Like being excited not only for the role, but then like also for the people. Because like even if it was a cool role, if I didn't like you guys, I'd still be like, oh god, like I gotta go fucking do this for 3 hours today. But instead, it's like, oh sweet, I got filming today. Like
Can I let me a little anecdote about you?
anecdote.
So there was a gap in time where, like, at least a month apart from where we had to do a reshoot of a scene that we already did, and it had been a little bit since we had seen each other, and I feel like when on set we kind of barely have enough time to talk, but when I went up to you after that month, you went up to me and you were like, hey man, how is everything? How's your girlfriend? You're living with another couple. Like you were listing these things about my life that I don't even remember mentioning to you. I don't remember talking to you about that. And I was like, oh yeah, I am living with them. I mean, it's pretty good. And that small thing just, I don't, it just felt good. Like, it meant you cared
Yeah.
more about being on set and talking to the people and working with the people, and it was said something about your character, man. So
And to add my own anecdote, same thing when you said when you said you checked out my album, like that same little thing. I was like, oh, this unlocked a whole nother level of like comfortability because this person cares not only about the thing but the people
I
involved.
mean, like, don't get me wrong, like, I liked you guys and I wanted to do that, but the other thing also that I've learned is, like, especially like in this profession and in like the entertainment industry, like, what you do off camera is almost just, if more important, if not just as important as what you do on camera, in terms of like, or what you do on set is just more what you do off set, right? Like if you like, for as an actor, when I go in for an audition, I start the audition the second I walk in the room, like, to sign in, where all the actors are sitting there waiting. How I treat the person who's checking me in, and how, like, gets remembered and people remember it, because like one, it's really important to be nice to people, and I want to be nice to people, but more than that, it's remembering people, like remembering that in 10 years or in 5 years, if James is ever in a position where he needs me, I want him to be able to remember me too. Where I would remember him for something, I want that both ways. So it's like you invest a little bit in somebody, and hopefully
I've said
along
that
the
to
way
him too. Don't
sometimes
forget
they'll
me,
invest.
dude. Because the
They'll invest
actors
in
have
you.
more sway to pick directors. So if you're
Well, that's
looking
the
at a
thing.
script,
Also,
and you're
like,
like, who could direct
Let's
this
be
movie?
honest, like if you're making a movie, like, yes, you want the best possible actor, but if the number one choice is just the biggest asshole and doesn't really care, and like, yeah, he's good, but it's gonna be a nightmare to work with, or like your number 5 choice, but he's still good, but he also is like a great personality and does a whole bunch of stuff, and like is like, you know, really nice and everyone likes him and works well and is committed, you're gonna pick him over the other guy any day. Like, I truly believe, like, that's why, like, the whole business is all connections and stuff, but it's like, you just gotta be a good person, man. And it's easy. You guys make it easy.
I think,
You guys
yeah,
are
I think
cool.
being a
Aw,
good
thanks,
person
man.
also
So do you.
builds the connections. Being a good person helps build the connections.
Yeah, and I mean also, like, dude, like we're on set, like, that's like our workspace, right? Like, that's the office. That's like our professional setting. So like, you're not gonna treat people like who you work with like shit. You're not gonna like not care about them, like just like how you get to know your coworkers. Like, even though filming's different because it's like such a short period of time, you're not like working with them for years and years. You still like get to know them. You're still like spending time with them. You're still working on this project together. So you're still all part of a team.
And in that short time, I think you get more quality interactions as well, because we're all doing something we care about.
And for me also, like, you guys notice, like, in between takes sometimes, I don't even ask Emilio. I'll go ask one of you guys or like a PA, like, hey, what'd you think of that? And like, I hope, like, getting more comfortable with him, like, you get more comfortable with me, I get more comfortable with you, instead of them being like, that was good. Yeah, no, you did well. You can be like, hey, actually, I didn't like, I think you should do something different here. Like, this kind of looked weird. Like, being honest, and that helps the movie and both of us, and so that's important too.
If you set the stage, then people will be honest,
Yeah,
and that's what we
like,
want.
I just want you to be comfortable enough with me to be critical. Like, if you really think it was good and you want to say it, like, great. But like, if you see something wrong, like, tell me.
yeah.
Like, I don't have to change it if I don't want to. Like, but I just want your opinion, and then I can decide from there what I want to do with it.
And that is a very specific level of comfortability to set with people, to like, they're open to give their opinions, knowing that it might not be accepted, but that's okay. It's the value is you giving the opinion.
And at that point, it's not even a opinion. I feel like that's just like constructive criticism.
Right, critique. Yeah,
right, it's
yeah,
a critique, and like when you write a paper for class, like, and you get it, you know, you have like a friend revise it or something, they can give you all these corrections, and like, you don't have to make them. Right. But like, that's what they think is better, and you usually do because it ends up being better, and they have a different set of eyes. But like, same with you. Like, if James said, hey, I don't actually think this is working, I could be like, nah, actually, I really like this, so I'm gonna stick with it. Yes. You know, like, but there's no harm in asking James to see what he thinks, because maybe it actually does.
And the more you get from him, even if like 80% of it you don't like, that 20% might be key.
Well, and the other thing is, the more I ask him, the more he's going to pay attention to it.
Yes, and give
So
more
then he's going to
constructive.
actually like look for stuff, and then when I do ask him, he's like, actually, yeah, I was noticing this and this. Yeah. So it goes all ways.
But between takes, like,
Yeah.
Whoops.
no. Because
That might be that.
what
name of this
I
episode.
like is when the off chance that the camera keeps running after I call cut, and because there are moments where I don't know, like, physically it looks like you're breaking character, like it'll be cut, and then like it's like you releasing something from being, I don't know, wherever you are mentally, and you know, wherever your body is, and how you kind of like you lean in to like kiss the camera, or like you like to interact with the camera. After a take, you'll like look at it, or like you smile at it before a take or something like that. For some reason that seems to be your thing. And so I wonder, I don't know if that's if you notice something like that, or if that's just part of the process of, you know, not holding everything so tightly.
I feel like it's a few things. One, it's like me just being like a little like anxious and nervous and being like, like trying to be silly, whatever. But I also think it's like, I think it's exhausting to stay in that stay in a different character all the time, and like especially if I am holding tension or whatever, or walking differently. Like I don't want to stand like that for an hour if we're doing the scene for an hour. So like giving myself just like a 30-second like relaxer sometimes, and then being able to get back in it, like still stay in that mindset, but like kind of just like let loose for half a second or like shake it out. It's like a little palate cleanser. Like you just like, yeah, it's like take a deep breath. Okay, now do the next rep, right? It's like at the gym, like you finish a set, you don't pick up the next set and just you take a rest and then you do your next set. So it's the same thing.
Anyway.
Anyways.
Anime.
After that, no, I was going to ask, the other thing is how you feel after like a day of shooting, or how you feel after like the weekends of shooting. Are you still thinking about it days after? Or are you still thinking like are you thinking about how good you did or how bad you did certain moments within it?
I have a 24-hour rule with myself, meaning like mainly with negative stuff, but positive stuff too. Like I'll have I give myself like 24 hours to like think about it and get mad about it or feel good about it. But then after that, it's like, what does thinking about it kind of do? Like we're done with that scene, we're done with that shoot, whatever. So it's like it's over, so it's done. And I can then I usually take a couple days off, especially like those weekend shoots. Like that's just tiring. That's 12 hours of shooting over the course of 2 days. Like it's just a lot. So sometimes, especially if it like maybe we weren't shooting for another couple of weeks, I'll take a full week off. Not even think about it. Don't even talk to Emilio. Just like let myself breathe, and then I can think about it and try to improve from it. But I think it's important to separate the two, because if you get too obsessed with anything, then it's just like I don't think it's that healthy. So.
Watch pot never boils.
How did you feel after the Charles River shoot? Because that's a question I like to
that
ask
was
anybody.
So tiring.
For the context, we started at 7 and finished at 6 a.m. Almost 12
7
hours.
7 p.m. to
something
6
like
a.m.
that.
Yeah.
Non-stop shooting all night. And it was like intense scenes too.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
God,
a
that's
lot
right.
of like stage combat and stuff like that.
You may have heard us speak about it before on the podcast of Emilio talking about people questioning running it again. A lot of that came from that scene.
Because there were other actors like who when I like after I spoke to them and asked them this question, and I've told you guys that like they've actually like questioned whether this is what they want to do or not after having gone through that experience.
Really?
Yeah. So I wonder.
Dude,
I
just
mean,
confirmed it.
Okay.
Like,
yeah,
if
that's what I'm saying. That's what it is.
Dude, if that's my fucking long day at the office, like I'll take that any day. Are you kidding me? Like, dude, that's fun, and that's like you learn about yourself from that. I mean, like, I don't know. That whole night shoot was really exhausting, but I mean, the way Emilio scheduled it was like at 4 a.m. is when we started shooting the last scene, which was when I'm like screaming at her and like having a mental breakdown. But like, if anything, that worked the best, because one, like, I knew going in I was going to give everything, like I was going to give whatever I had left on that. So like if we had tried to do anything after that, I physically probably
it had to be last.
I'm so tired.
It'd have been weird if it was earlier. I think that scene.
But also it worked because I was already so tired, and then it was like you're pulling up energy you didn't even know you had, or you're pulling, because it's just like, well, and it's just like you're running on fumes, but in the best possible way. So you're just like not even thinking, and then you're not even in your own head. And like, dude, I get super self-conscious about acting in public. But I was screaming at the top of my lungs at the Esplanade. And the one thing I remember never thinking about is I wonder if I'm bothering anybody or if anyone I think because I was so tired and so just like in it and like kind of like in a half glaze, it kind of just allowed me to be free and remember the lines and then just like kind of take off from there. Yeah. And that's how that kind of exploded into whatever that fucking became.
It came out well.
My God.
It became something good.
I think what you were just talking about is similar to I lost my train of thought. Son of a bitch.
There's a line from the film The Disaster Artist where one of the characters was interviewing one of the extras that was on set, and they were like, why do you put up with this stuff? Why do you deal with it? And they were like, the worst day on a set is still better than the best day in any office. Yeah, that sums it up so much.
I couldn't, like, if when I picture my future, like, I could never picture myself sitting at a desk for the rest of my life. Like, I
Same,
would,
dude. It scares me.
Dude,
Yeah,
and the
that's the
times
same
that
fear the movies
I've
made
had
with,
great
yeah.
experiences, and I've still walked away from, like, doing, like, office work and being like, I don't want to do this. I had great coworkers, great whatever, don't want to do it. So that's where, like, being on set just, or being, you know, on stage, like, they both, it's just, I think for me, I'm the type of person that I need to be creative and I need to have that outlet, and if I don't, like, I'm just not happy.
When you do something you love, the work is worth it, you know, and it means a lot more than doing something you
And
hate.
I think it's bullshit, like the whole like, do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Like that's so
Crazy.
bullshit,
That's
dude.
crazy.
Like it's gonna be work. Even acting is still like some days you don't want to do it, and some days it's really hard and it's like kind of frustrating and you're not getting it. But
Are you okay, dude?
No, that was too good. Yeah. It just got shot. That was the dog fight. Yeah, the helicopters.
no, I feel like even those worst days, like you just get so much more. Like a bad day at an office just kind of ruins your night, and you're like, and then the next day you wake up and try to get better. A bad day on set sucks, and then the next day you learn from it.
It's also not the real world, so you can return to this. So even if you have a bad day in like this fake world, it's
Dude,
not.
separation.
A
Yeah.
bad day like on set is the same as having a bad game like in a sport. Like
Right.
yeah, it sucks, but like you're gonna get so much better for the next game. Where like a bad
really
day in
think
the
you did,
office, like
yeah.
I guess it still relates, but it's not the same. And for me, like I just enjoy that personal growth so much more anyways. Like I always like being able to see where I've gone, like my growth or getting better is so cool. So I really like being able to look back and be like, wow, I was not doing this a month ago, but because I saw this, now you know what I mean? Like
you can visually see your change when you're acting.
yeah, I'm a visual learner too, so that's why it really helps. Like being able to look at stuff and being like, oh, I'm gonna do this differently next time, and then doing it differently and being like, yeah, it's better. And then like that's change, that's growth. Like that's really cool.
I really like what you said about learning about yourself when you're doing these creative things, because I think anytime you do something creative or creativity makes you learn about yourself because it's coming from somewhere within.
And that's why acting is so vulnerable, because it's not even like it is about like going to these vulnerable places and getting deep and scary, but when you spend time there, you learn new things and you think about new things, and you so like at the end of the day, like if I have to go to a really dark place and I think of something really personal and sad to me, like the reason it affects me longer is not because like I was sad and had to think about it again. It's because I thought about it and realized something else, and it really like, and all of a sudden I'm obsessing over it again.
You have
right?
to confront things.
And like, yeah, it's a scary thing, but like on the long term, like you just get to learn so much more. And I think it's really important. I think a lot of people are afraid to learn about themselves and like to really get inside their own head and stuff.
Yeah,
And
I think it's also because we're
I
not
think it's
taught,
important.
and it's not emphasized. It is important, and I don't think, especially we were talking about schooling off mic, and like when I was going through high school, they always taught, okay, you're learning the material. They never really taught me how to be a person. They taught me how to like do math, do science, do all that shit.
And you got to figure it out on your own a little bit too. It's not fully school, but the ways you do that is like in things that you love. And for me, it's performing and being creative. And in those moments is when I learn about myself. I think it's important.
It's very important because it's also like you're tailoring your learning experience to how you learn. When you're in school, they don't do that. There's like a standard they're teaching
also,
to.
when you do it in the way you love, it doesn't feel like learning. You know what I mean?
Well, I think you do, but it's like putting a positive connotation on it.
Right.
You know what I'm
okay,
saying?
so I'm saying
Your
learning like
experience,
learning
you're
sucks.
swimming.
yeah, no.
But like, no, yeah, you're
know
learning,
what
but
you're
like
saying,
it's
yeah.
like you enjoy it.
You're
Yeah.
experiencing, you know, like
Yeah.
you're gaining knowledge more than just information.
Right.
It's a deeper thing.
Do you, Tyler, have a specific song that made you feel like you grew just from writing it or performing it or anything like that?
Yeah, well, that's funny because most of those are the ones that actually don't make the tapes, right? Like the most pivotal ones are the ones that actually don't show up, and then you see because they're also usually not the most refined, so they're not really the ones that can be put out.
Have you ever released something that you wish you didn't release? Like later on, you look back, you're like, why did I put this out? This sucks.
Maybe not like I've because I'm like you where I like to see the growth, right? So for a while I was putting even my shitty SoundCloud songs up for me, even just so, or even if people wanted to see the growth and see where I was because I always knew it's going to get good. Everything's there except for some of the technical aspects that I'll find that, but I've gone back and deleted some of those, not necessarily because I wish what was it? I wish I didn't put them out, but now it's just like, okay, I'm just in a totally different space that this is kind of, now it's a detriment. Because now it's just like, it's just that bad. It's not even the floor anymore. It's like the basement because I've just elevated. But I would say that like Impact and Aftershock both, and definitely SMS that's coming out, especially SMS, is tangible points of growth for me where I've realized, oh, this is, and also there are a lot of them in a short amount of time. So I was like, oh, if I can do this much by working this hard in a short amount of time, imagine what I can do if I stretch this out. So it definitely has made me feel more confident in the creative process and that we're elevating.
Jacob, how do you feel like you become a better actor? Like, how do you actively right now become a better actor? Is there?
While he's not acting?
I'm just yeah.
You mean like so just like how am I getting better? Like
Yeah,
day to
like
day?
so if acting is your chosen profession and you understand you have to put 10,000 hours into becoming something, how do you become something in that particular profession?
I think it's even though I'm not on set every day, or even though I'm not even like working on a project or preparing or whatever, I think it's like kind of keeping yourself in that creative mindset, and making like, because like I also just like I think it's also like play pretend with yourself, like talk to yourself, like
love it.
come up with scenarios in your head,
it.
like watch movies and try to emulate that. Like I don't know, I just think it's little stuff. It's doing little drills, right? Like how do you get better at a
work that
sport?
doesn't seem like
it's
work,
the
I think, in a
drills.
way.
Yeah,
It seems crazy.
it's
a
drill
lot of
stuff.
times.
It's like I don't know. It's little stuff like that. It's watching good performances and like actually looking at them and like thinking about what they did and then looking up stuff later and realizing how they got into that and like doing research on that stuff.
Also looking at the ways they didn't go.
Yeah,
and
it's
how
just
they
keeping yourself.
reached that
I think it's just
particular
like
path.
keeping yourself updated and like always just keeping yourself in that space, right? Like how do you get good at anything? Like you just have to take time on it. And even when you're not at work, you might still be thinking about work. And it's still the same thing. Even though I'm not on set, I'm still thinking about it.
And all those little habits that you build through the creative process, that's stuff that you're just interested in and you're doing it because you like it.
Right. It's not even stuff that I'm like it's not like a habit that you like you're forcing your like 2-year-old to learn how to brush his teeth. Like you're like I want to learn these things. Like this isn't it's not I don't feel like it's mundane or I don't feel like I have to do it. Like I want to. I could stop at any time and say like, you know what, I want to go into like sales, but like I don't. So I keep doing because I love to do it.
On the point you said about sorry, I just wrote it down. What did I say? Oh, studying outside sources and like trying to take things from them. Where do you draw the line, or do you ever worry about when you study outside sources that there's any sense of maybe copying or emulating?
So
What are outside sources first?
Like other actors or
outside
just other
sources,
creators?
right? Like my favorite actor right now is Mahershala Ali. Like I think he's the best. I also think Matthew
Sandler.
McConaughey is fantastic. Adam Sandler.
Yo, James loves that shit.
Matthew McConaughey, like
Yeah.
I just finished True Detective season 1, so Matthew McConaughey is like just blew my mind.
All right,
Yeah,
all right.
so like yeah, exactly. Like he just
What
blew
is-
my mind.
no.
So
that is not the character.
That's a voice.
Matthew
That's a
McConaughey
voice.
sitting next
Yeah,
to me.
but it's not the.
All right,
He
all
teaches
right.
at UT actually. Yeah.
Yeah, he
What
does.
does he teach? Acting?
Acting at
Oh,
UT.
shit.
Yeah.
There's some stories of him like driving like drunk students back to their dorms in like a golf cart.
That's hilarious. That's funny as fuck.
As long as he left him there and then left, then it's funny.
Anyways.
the question was
Yeah, I don't remember. Oh yeah, it was about
Oh,
like,
how
for
do I
ex-
make sure I don't copy them and like
Yeah, or is that a worry? Is that different in acting?
for
'Cause
me?
in music,
Well, I
it's
mean, like
different for
okay,
me.
so a lot of people when they start acting, like they struggle because they have these preconceived notions of what acting is, and acting isn't anything in specific, right? It's different for everyone. It's different for every part, everything, and you kind of have to discover it every single time, which is why I feel like you have to audition because everything is new. Right. And just because I played funny doesn't mean I can play sad. So like you have to prove yourself, right? So people come in with these preconceived notions, and that's not good. But for me, like when I look at a Mahershala Ali movie, I'm not going to try to emulate how he like moves his wrists or how he uses his mouth, but like it's not so much like, oh, I like how he's walking, I'm going to emulate that walk, or I'm going to emulate these motions. It's a lot more of like how he looks, like how he gets committed to a film. You know, it's more like you watch and say, that was really good, how did he get there? And then kind of looking at interviews and then kind of trying to figure out your own process to get there. And you're saying, okay, so he pulled from here and here. How do I kind of emulate that sadness like that Jacob would feel, but like how do I get there myself? I'm not going to feel it like Mahershala, I'm going to feel it like me.
Is there a tree of like acting style lineage like there is in music? Like for example, you know, there's like the trap sound and the auto-tune sound, which you can trace to people like, you know, Young Thug, Travis Scott, whatever. And like people would say that people are then taking their style and running with it. Is there anything like that in acting?
You could argue the base is like theater.
Yeah, and there's
performance.
different types, right? Like there's like you can like for people who have studied acting, there's like Meisner technique, there's Stanislavski, there's different people like actors who have like developed sort of techniques. But that's all they are. They're techniques. They're not a style. Like they're a style. They're not a style of acting, so to speak, as much. They're
Do you know the
techniques.
differences between those three?
So, Meisner is very much focused on the other person. It's a lot of partner-based stuff. It's about working with a scene partner and like, it's just about like building that relationship.
Yeah, not focusing on yourself.
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe. I don't know for 100%. Stanislavski I think Stanislavski might be where you draw. One of them is where you draw from like past experiences and emotions to get to where you're going, and then I cannot remember what the third one is. But there are different schools of thought behind it. But I like, it's different because like they're techniques, it's doesn't mean it's gonna be the same for every person who learns them. Everyone learns them and creates them in their own way. Like I'm gonna take I studied Meisner, right? So that's back and forth like with a partner, but I'm not Meisner, so like how he teaches it, I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna like use it myself and I'm gonna make it my own. It's like writing. They teach you how to write a paragraph, but not everyone writes the same paragraph. You know, you take your ideas and you kind of make it your own. So
I think there was when we were talking about chemistry earlier, what made me think about part of like the chemistry building process was the challenges we faced too. Partially, like one of the moments I remember the most is when we were doing the party scene and you and I were in the bedroom trying to figure out how you say some certain lines. I can't even remember what the lines were, but you just kept walking back and forth, and we were trying to get you to say it in like some way that just felt right. And even again, also the last shoot we had at Suffolk. Oh, shout out to Suffolk, I guess.
Shout out to Suffolk.
That where we just kept running that shot because it didn't feel right, and then we'd like nod to each other.
It's funny because I feel like on those, I don't even know what I'm looking for. It's one of those where you're like, you just close your eyes and you just throw and see what sticks, and you don't know what's gonna like hit and what's gonna make you. But you'll know when you feel it. You know, like you don't know what it is you're looking for, but when you find it, you'll know. Right. And sometimes that just takes. Sometimes you get it on the first shot, and sometimes you get it on the 100th, and it just kind of depends. But keep shooting. Yeah. Shoot or shoot.
Keep shooting. Keep running again. I want to go back to something you said about when we were talking about acting styles and like methods and shit. So how do you feel about the notion of teaching acting then? Because you said it's not something that is like I mean, it's something that you kind of like revisit and form on your own when you find your own style. So when it comes to teaching that, do you think it usually is effective, and what is effective?
Yeah, I think it's super effective. It's important because acting is so complex, when the scene says, you know, Max cries, it's not about me just starting to cry. It's about why am I crying? And like teaching people to get in that mindset is a lot harder than you think, and making people draw from it, but then also feel like it's so hard to be able to just, and I don't even do it, like I'm still working on it, like everyone works on it. It's so hard to be able to just feel something on the spot. Like it's not natural. Like you have to make it natural looking too, right? So like if you were to say get sad, like I'll make a sad face, but like that's not natural. You know what I mean? Like, but it's about teaching yourself and getting those reps to say, okay, how do I get into that mindset? Like how do I like really actually feel it?
And you need conversations with people who have been in that mindset, who have done it before, to get you the insight to do it yourself.
Yeah, and you need to have thought about it before. Like that's why like a lot of times when you go on, like there's some instances where you can look at a script and just like jump right in, but oftentimes it's like you need to like prep it and plan it, because you know there's a lot there. Right. You know, we talked about it off mic. Like a character doesn't start when the camera starts, right? A character is born. So if you play a 60-year-old, like, you know, that means that character has had 60 years of life. That it affects every decision, every action they do, like everything. So like you have to kind of create that for yourself, because that makes you then true to the character.
Yes, it further builds the world. And I don't remember what got caught on mic or not, but like you said, creating the context and forming the world of the character within the world of the movie. Nice. I really like that, yo. I just had a question. Go ahead, yeah.
I know one of the like knowing where they are and where they've come from is important, because I know that was a lot of conversations I had with Frank Wolf, the actor who played him, about getting to that space and getting to like that mid-30s, you know, space, because part of his original research was figuring out how to walk like a confident man in his 30s and not like, you know, a 20-some-odd kid. And so he, you know, it's more like your back's out, but it's not completely up, or it's like there's more swagger to it. And then as you get older, there's less swagger, but your back's still up, you know, and different things like that. And yeah, so it's interesting and important to think about the age and where they come from based upon that age.
Yeah, so teaching steps along the way rather than the destination is what's beneficial.
Yeah, because everyone's destination is different. Right. You know, it's not math. You're not going to all get the same answer. Yeah. Like everyone's different. Every actor is totally different. So, and every journey is totally different. Mm-hmm. So like I think teaching acting is just about like making sure everyone finds their own journey, and it's a positive journey of growth. And then sometimes you find the destination in a year, and sometimes you find it in you never find it, you know, so
it's like giving them the map rather than marking where you're
going.
I
had an acting teacher who once said it takes 20 years to be a good actor, and you guys are on month 3.
So
damn, you got a lot of time, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like
up.
It's like, wow, like it takes that but it takes a long time.
Well, that's why what James said is important about talking to people who have been there and have had to get there, because like I remember thinking that when I was talking to entertainment lawyer when I was back in Toronto one time, one of my dad's friends, and I was telling him like, yeah, this is back in On Demand, where I was like, yeah, like I want this to be a career and shit. On Demand is my first like ever tape I put out, and he was like, you want it to be a career? You haven't even put out your first project yet. You know, like these sobering realities you need to get from people who have been through it.
You're not gonna play stadium tours in the first 3 months.
Right,
like,
exactly. Probably not in the first year.
Probably not in the first, and probably not in the first 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, stadium, yeah, definitely not.
That's why you have to be invested in the art to keep you going through it.
Fuck jobs. Wait, what?
Who said that?
Morgan Freeman didn't become famous till like his 50s or 60s, right? Like,
Right.
And
it's
now he's
different for
God.
everyone.
Now he's God.
Now he's God. He plays Black God. Like, that's
Black
crazy.
Black God.
Dude, that's crazy.
Black God.
Shout out to
Black
Black God.
Or
Yeah.
according to the Bible, it's just God, but that's another conversation.
Yeah.
But no, but yeah, I mean, it's
There you
different for
go.
everybody. Like, and also just because
know. Just go. Jeez, yeah, I don't know.
I don't even know where I was at that. It's okay.
I don't know. It's okay. Let's transition a little out of acting into your music side, because I mentioned in the beginning that
yeah.
you're a pretty creatively diverse guy.
Oh yeah, that part.
Me?
Yeah, I sing. What? But you do a cappella, right? That's your singing venture. He's a good singer. If you hear him in between takes, he was definitely humming, singing some bars in between.
Well, I mean, like
shots.
all of my, like growing up, like I didn't do. There's not a lot of film opportunities when you like if you're not living in New York or LA or in a city, like as like a middle school, elementary school kid, like you're not doing films.
It'd be
right?
on your parents to get you into that.
Yeah, no, I was doing school musicals and community theater and stuff like that. So like
Wait, sorry, real quick. When did you get into acting then? Because we never even asked that.
I did my first ever like musical in like 3rd grade, and I loved it. And then since then I was doing musicals like ever since. And then I used to audition in the city when I was in like middle school and stuff like that. And worked in the city for a little bit, and then I got to high school and just did like high school stuff. I'd say middle school was when I was most in it, because I was doing like professional work in the city, community theater like within like towns like in New Jersey where I live, and then also like my middle school shows.
Is that when it turned to more than passion as well? You realized like
That's
yo,
when it turned to
long-term?
like my thing. That was like what I was good at, and that's what I like to do, right? Like, so that's when I really discovered what it was that I like to do. Oh yeah, singing. I mean, like, I did a cappella through high school. I wouldn't even say it's a big part of me. Like, I did it in high school, and it's, like, I enjoy it mainly because I enjoy singing and making music and stuff. But a cappella for me, like, in high school, I did it to like make friends and just to have like a something consistent, like singing wise. But also like in college, it became also like I'm not doing a show every semester, or I'm not doing a show every week or working. So like a cappella was like being able to at least have a place to sing once a week, so practice singing and like continue to sing, which is what I like to do and what I want to do. And it also didn't like formed a community as well, but it was just something consistent. So I've had it like every semester. So I know even if like, oh, this semester I'm really going to focus on school, like I know I'm also at least going to do a cappella as well, which is something creative, which is what I really like about it. And you meet great people and stuff
You
like that.
can check out his published music.
You
Underwear.
can. Emerson Noteworthy on Spotify.
Yeah, and we were talking a little
check
bit
him
off
out.
mic because I was curious about, because like how you've even kind of been saying, it's not like your main thing. It is something that you love to do and that you like to do. And we kind of joked off mic that nobody's trying to listen to this, or there's no audience for this, or whatever. But and then I asked you, so what is there a goal that it could help translate over into your acting or theater career? And you were kind of explaining or breaking that down a little bit. And I just wanted you to reiterate it.
Yeah. Like I'm not gonna become like I'm not like gonna go and try to be pentatonics and be like a professional a cappella singer. Like that's not what I want to do / that feasible anyways. But I mean maybe.
There's
who
only
knows?
5 of them, right? Yeah.
Who knows, man? If they remake Pitch Perfect, I'll be there.
Okay.
No, for me it's like I want to be able to show somebody when someone says like if I ever am looking for representation in the future and stuff like that, like I want to be able to be like, hey, this is film stuff that I've done. This is, I can sing Broadway songs for you, like musical theater songs. Oh, but I also have experience like singing pop songs, like an a cappella song. Oh, yeah, this is me soloing on this song. Like it just shows range and
You're
it just shows
multifaceted.
yeah,
That's
like I can
that's
do
so
stuff.
important.
So when so if a musical ever comes up or a TV show or a movie where it's a singing like and it's more pop singing, it's less Broadway singing. Like they know I can sing that style of music. It's just and it's also just practice at everything.
Being multifaceted in arts is something that's important for people of our age because it's so much easier for us to do it. Like from the industry, people that I've been talking through my class, they're all saying like, you can't just be an actor. You have to be an actor plus something else.
An actor plus a writer or an actor plus a this or that. Yeah, you can't just.
It's also I just get more opportunities. Like I want to also do voice acting sometime, so that's dope.
Also, like we were talking about this earlier, like you're never gonna get a job walking into an audition room with a bunch of people you've never met before who doesn't know, they know nothing about you, blow them away with your acting and get the role. Like, that's never going to happen in your entire life, which is why, like, when actors go out and audition, it takes them months to get in it because the director or the casting director has to see you a couple times to know you're committed. Then they see if you're consistent and actually doing well in auditions. Then it's okay, we'll start out with something small, and if you do well, you get bigger and better things, right?
And it's also something you said earlier. You have to be someone they want to work with, just as a person.
You have to. So it's like, you're always in the audition. Like, even on set, you're still auditioning for the next thing. So someone to think of you for the next thing, right? So having and so that's why you can't just be an actor. You never know when that, yes, I met Emilio through submitting a tape, but maybe I met Emilio because I did lighting for one of his films, and I mentioned that I also am an actor, and then he wanted to call me in for it because he knew me from that. Like, you can't just, so it just gives more opportunities.
So within film, where do you see yourself kind of expanding towards outside of acting?
Yes, next steps.
Outside of acting, honestly, I do like writing. I could totally see myself writing and kind of working in like a writer's room or something too. I think that'd be really cool. And it's not that I have no interest in like behind the camera stuff. I just have no experience. And I would totally be down to, but I think also I just haven't had the chance to do it yet. And honestly cause it's also tough because I really love like the performative aspect of it. So it would have to be kind of, at least for me right now, and this is sounding like so picky and stuff, but something that I really want to like work on to be like, I won't be in front of the camera. Like, I'll do lighting or something like that. Like, I'm cool with that. Like, I'd like to learn that.
You can do that now. Now sounds like the time. You don't have any projects coming and going.
I could, man.
Now sounds the time
That's
you go
true,
to school
actually.
where people make
I
movies.
should. But so I don't know. But definitely, if I'd have to say right now, it'd be writing. But yeah.
Do you guys have any final questions? 'Cause I just have last one.
No, you got questions for us?
Well, I was just gonna ask, I know you kind of answered it there, but what are your next plans for your acting career?
He's leaving us.
I'm leaving. Nah, I got one more semester of school, and then I'm going to a 2-year acting conservatory in New York City. Yeah, so I'll be doing that for 2 more years.
He had to get into the school first.
Yeah, I had to get into school.
Which is not easy.
It's tough. It's tough because, like, for me right now, it's battling this thing of like, do I try and learn more and get better at my craft, or do I go out there and just start making connections and try to work? Yeah. Right? And it's like, when do you decide is the right time to go out? Like, is it right after college? Is it 5 years after college? Is it before college? Is it in high school? Like, and it's different for everybody. So I'm just kind of like, right now it's the next 2, like, my plan is for 2 more years, study it, and then go out in the industry. But, that could change if I find an opportunity while I'm at school or conservatory, like,
Director's listening. He's open.
I'm open.
This
Someone
is like
pay me.
one studio contract over here.
Sign him for life.
You didn't know?
You didn't see the fine print?
You weren't sure. I didn't read that part. I missed that part. You didn't send me that page of the contract or something.
Yeah, wasn't supposed to. That's
Well,
why
it's
I
in
know.
there now, so.
Oh shit. Well, I think that was a good one, guys. Jacob, thank you for being here, man.
This was fun, man. This was cool. You guys are cool.
All right. Let him
That's
know
the second
again.
time he
Tell
said
him
it, so
what's
now
up.
it's real.
Yeah, now it's real, dude. Manifesting. Yeah, hire me for jobs.
Y'all got last words for the people? Emilio, James, or Jacob, if you got last words.
Oh, dude, R.I.P. Alex Trebek, bro.
Dude,
Oh,
that
yeah.
one hurt me,
Oh,
man.
yeah,
That one
That's
fucking
crazy. So
hurt.
does Jeopardy go on?
Yeah, they still have like 3 or 4 episodes.
Till
of him,
December
right?
25th, the last episode with Trebek.
Ever?
I saw that George Stephanopoulos was looking to take his role, and I was just like, nope. No
It's a
thanks.
little insensitive to start
No,
thinking
it's
about
also
that
just
now.
bad.
Yeah,
He's a bad
just-
choice.
That's gonna be tough to fill. I feel like. Yeah. Like, he's such an iconic figure on that show.
It spans generations.
Yeah.
My grandma and I used to watch it like at 7 p.m. anytime we were over there. Oh man, R.I.P. Alex Trebek. Emilio.
Pursue your passions. Yeah.
There he is.
Let's make dreams come true,
For sure.
everybody. Thank you for joining this episode of Rabbit Hole Sessions. Great to have y'all, and we'll see you in the next one. Check us out on YouTube at Rabbit Hole Sessions, Instagram at Rabbit Hole Sessions, Twitter at Hole Sessions, and keep up with us. We'll see you for the next one. Peace, peace, peace.
Prosperity.
Adios.
Bye.